let's vamp a little bit over it as the operator bans come in.
No, I very much agree. And let's say OXG, you know, they win this map of Chalet, their map pick, and then you go back and say, okay, one round was the difference maker on Clubhouse to win 2-0. You're gonna kick yourself over that. You know, like, oh, we're so close. We should have, could have, would have done it, but we didn't. And I actually think, I think Laxing really hit the nail on its head, both with, he also believes that Clubhouse is an attacker favorite map if you don't attack it in a sloppy way. So that's something to note for the first map between these two teams. And secondly, I like that he kind of shared the tidbit about OXG in the best of 3 like to start attack to get like the fundamentals down, get all that creative juice flowing. And second map, you can start defense, you're already warmed up. And to argue on top of it, Soniqs' attacks look kind of sloppy. So now OXG, they're warmed up for fundamentals, they get defense side first, Soniqs have to attack. I think this sets up OXG great for Chalet, and I think the eyes are really gonna be on Soniqs' side, whether they can be a good enough of a team to actually win on the second map, or at the very least, make it competitive.
I want to say, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
No matter who wins, you, the viewer, wins too.
He's severe that way, Parker, yeah?
I like to go on the record with this. Not to rebut the people who like to cry that we are bias casters, because frankly, most of the time, I don't give a good goddamn as to who wins these matches. I'm in it for the storyline. I'm in it for the spectacle. The more electric these teams are, the more competitive these teams are, the better. And then, yeah, there are some times where you hope a team wins for a storyline, sure. But ultimately, I don't really care. In this particular matchup, I think there's very compelling reasons for both SQ and OXG to win these matches. And I think it will lead to a good storyline no matter what. But in this instance, all I want is as close of a match as we got on Clubhouse, which means, well, in order to hit that mark, we need to go all 15 rounds. How many of you watching, whether you're watching right now or watching later back in the VOD at another time, you don't really have much to do today, right? You're just going to be along for the ride with us.
Surely. And if so, we'll welcome you with open arms. The Arbiter ban phase went a little bit different this time. Dokkaebi is still a stable ban, but I mean, this is intel galore. Dokkaebi, Solid, Brava, Valkyrie. Intel, all across the board from both these two teams. And it's gonna mean that on defense, the only intel you can bring is an Echo and Yokai drones, or just good actual drone work from the attacking side, if you're an attacker that is. It's gonna be tough. And I think it's also a perfectly good reason as to why Gio's playing the Monty, because that's going to give you really nice intel on the attacking side at least, and defense, they don't got any way to substitute that in this current round. So OXG, they're running around somewhat blind on this map. You can already see Fish and Yogg taking a ton of damage early in this round.
I feel like you haven't paid enough attention to the Monty. I'm eagerly anticipating a blitz at some point today, just for you to completely lose your mind.
I would love that. But I mean, that's for Oregon, right? We're saving that for the final map. This can be a Monty round, Monty game. Love it. Gio is, you know, there's those and those Monty players, right? There are the passive ones that give intel, they always extend out. And then the ones that will ADS, drop shot you, 360 no scope, whichever, just get kills. Gio is very much sleepy Gio. Walks around, gets some intel, yellow pings, and the young boys behind him will do the work.
Well, it's very accurate. Trickster, the very first pick, losing a lot of his HP in the process. Citizen still following up with Gio above as these players from OXG roaming on the top floor. Holding vital map control. Being pushed back ever so slightly. Down goes Citizen. So even though Gio is there, he might be a bullet magnet, but not necessarily a nitro magnet. Now he will toil over in Trophy. And he gives some pings as he sees OXG maneuvering through this A-bomb site over by Kitchen into Trophy, into the hallway. There's a smorgasbord of OXG players within reach. 30 seconds to go, and there's Gio gone from the board. Very well played by Fox A. Surrenders to Fuser 2. Fox A gets siege timinged on the stairs inside a Trophy. SQ clamping down on the peripheries of this bomb site. Dream still playing from above, looking for a potential retake. Yaga's up there as well. If these kill holes don't line up, they're in serious trouble. Grixer picking off one. OXG just with the two above. Precarious position to drop on down Yaga and Dream. Now going for the stairs. Dream over by the hatch. Yaga was magnificent in game number 1. There goes Dream, and the lockout from SQ is perfect. The post plant goes as you'd expect it to. Soniqs get all 3 picks once the diffuser goes down, and they take round number 1.
A very puzzling outcome of that round, because it looked like OXG were very comfortable on the bomb site itself. Waist main control, they had base main control, they had kitchen dining control, of course. And they opted for the play that no one really seems to do a lot. A 3-man retake up through the blue staircase and fireplace staircase to try and regain control of the top floor. And it would have worked if they had had better intel. They had a couple of yellow pings from a bulletproof camera, but they couldn't find the planter, and they couldn't really get any real value with the verticality. So what happens is that Soniqs just get the bomb down, and then they have the post plant. And because they don't have any intel to work with, they have to walk down the staircase now straight into the arms of the attacking team, who's now defending the bomb site essentially. So I felt like the OXG could have dominated on Clubhouse, hold the bomb side, play with their lives intact because they have that early advantage, and even more importantly, Foxy killed Geo on Monty about halfway through that round. That was the only real way Soniqs had intel on what was actually going on near the bomb site itself. They didn't have a lot of drone work because it wasn't needed. They had Geo. So when Geo dies, surely you stick around a bit longer, but no. Geo was teasing a second Monty round for a short bit, but unfortunately, he went on to Capital instead. It's still a fun operator to watch, you know. I always love to see utility play. And the Capital Fire is very crucial for this bar bomb set attack. You can easily clear out library with that in that default corner next to the between the double and single window, and that's a problem. You don't want to burn a ton of flashbangs or grenades always. Sometimes just try and get a single fire on there. Guaranteed clear it. Don't need, you know, pinpoint accuracy like with a grenade. But we know, and so does Soniqs now, that OXG, they're not playing that corner because they too fear perhaps a Capital.
Capital's pick rate's been quite steady so far. He hasn't been dominating games, and he's only been present on specific sites, but I like the application, the way teams use him, especially on this site in particular. Very common for those fire arrows to go into the corner, as you talked about. That's what the magnets are there for, and some teams, despite it being what should be a simple lineup, still struggle to get those arrows in the right place. Now, there's nobody from OXG in that particular spot, as you mentioned. We're going to play a little bit farther back.
Keep it deployed.
We call this a full court press, as there's 2 separate players from OXG sitting by that library doorway, watching the window. That Kiba barrier was thrown out by Yaga, which will prevent vision for Soniqs. If they go to vault in, there's a kill hole beneath them. Unsure of at the moment whether somebody from OXG is actively holding that, but it will give some trepidation to Soniqs. Either way, another nade will now go in as Dream gets hit by an air jab, knocked over. Citizen dies first, and then, well, it's an answer back. Both teams drawing blood at this moment. A 3v3, but might as well be less as Geo's bleeding out. Looks retrievable. All it will take is Gunnar getting him back up from the dead. There's a trail of blood leading into that bar back that is spotted by Dream, but he's patient for now. 50 seconds. Action could happen at a moment's notice, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, the issue's diffused, right? Gotta pick it up somehow, but Vert is now working against you, and Gunnar just risks it all. What a madman. And now, Soniqs can effectively plant at a bar.
Great start to the second map by Gunnar. He had a strong start in map number 1 before cooling off. Now amidst the smoke, not in terms of kills, but in terms of objective play, that case looking to get planted. Grixer holding from above, just cutting right through OXG. But their X Factor, Yaga, has been sensational round through round. Will hop on to the case. Grixer following up, engaging, and Grixer spray wins out. Soniqs, 2 in a row. Perfect through these 2 rounds on attack. They've gotten the diffuser down both times as well.
I know it's early to say because we've literally only watched 2 rounds, but I almost want to say that the rounds we've seen so far from Soniqs on attack on Chalet looks a lot better than the, 7 rounds we saw from them on Clubhouse. Like, they look decisive, they have good pace, they're also controlling the pace. Sure, XG, they're doing the classic, we're playing relatively passive, we're playing safe, we want you to make the first move, etc. And it did look like it was going to be a struggle for Soniqs in the previous round, but then out of nowhere, it just hit the side. A good follow-up from the basement staircase in towards the bar door and just jumping in the double window, and then they pause. One member gets injured, diffuse on the ground. They needed Grixer to rotate on that Nomad like we saw, and they just said, okay, we're gonna wait for you, I'll give you 20 seconds. Once that 20 seconds had passed, when Grixer was in the right position to execute, they were like, how do we plan? What do we do here? Well, you smoke twice just in the doorway to block off the hatch angles. You fire the possible door entry point. Grixer was on the library balcony covering the library hatch, and there was no actual way for Oshi to counter that plant spot because the warden was above and Grixer killed him earlier in the round, right before the hatch drop. So beautiful problem solving from Soniqs right now, and in my opinion, just again showing they have a better understanding of Chalet, or more comfortability perhaps, than that of Clubhouse.
When Jacob on the desk was like, it feels like we're going to get a 2-0 here, because my thought process was the opposite. Well, OXG kept it really, really close on map number 1. And now we're going to their map. This should be favorable conditions for OXG to prevail and then send us to a third map. We even talked about it in the preamble. But with the way that Soniqs have been playing so far, lends a lot of credibility to the things that Jacob said. I don't want anybody thinking that this is me smack talking Jacob. Not at all. People also need to realize that there are lots of times where I will say something pretending to be oblivious so that you can step up and fill everybody in. Do I know the answer to the question? A lot of times, yes. You, the viewer, might not, and it allows you to be the expert. Jacob can take a conflicting viewpoint so that Jesse and Laxing can riff off of it. That's the signs of a good desk host, is to get the most out of your analysts. Speaking of analysts, when I was talking about Geo in the previous round, I got a message from Laxing. It said, and I quote, Geo played with me, and this part is in all caps, and I would like to stress this was in all caps, and he was a little cutie pie. Now, this could also apply to Foxay, I guess, because technically he was also Laxing's teammate, but either way, I'm choosing it to be Geo, because that's who we spent the most time talking about.
That's fair.
We've flown through this round, and here's the action. Fish aggressing up the stairs. Oxygen, in fact, trying to rip away this control of the top floor that Soniqs thought they had. Gunner and Citizen are doomed. OXG with an advantage with just a minute to go.
Really good play there, having two flankers work together, and it was a bit of a surprise there from Gunner. He killed the first member of Fish, sure, but the second member of Foxay shut him down for a 1-for-1 trade. Surprised that Munchie's not in these gunfights, so there's really like a very passive Munchie from Geo here in these rounds.
Grixer's just sitting in the sight. Whoa, what?
He's that good?
Pivoting around, what a shot. Excellently done by Grixer. Foxay backing away as the Nitro Cell tears some of the life away from Geo. Grixer wanting more. It's going to leave Geo in a 1v3. Not a spot that you as a Monty want to find yourself in, especially with the diffuser still on your person. Yaga seals the deal. OXG win their first round in this match.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of Monty being the last player alive. And again, like, it's a 2 versus 3, and it's Grixer who's aggressing forward, looking for those engagements, when it should realistically be Monty trying to either distract the enemy or try and get down that diffuser instead. Okay, sure, the first 2 devs were happened because of a flank that happened, so a lack of drone work perhaps from the side of Soniqs. But then what happens in the aftermath, not 3 versus 4, it's just Monty being in last instead of kind of being in first. We see here it's Grixer just pushing the way forward, paving it forward, and then dying in the midst of a toxic babe. Well done by OXG though, again playing proactively around the map. They don't have those intel operators on defense, right? Don't have the Valkyrie, don't have the Solist, so going for a fight like they did on Blue Staircase is very risky, but it also at the same time, it really paid off and gave them a good way into that round, because the bomb set itself wasn't necessarily that strong. Monty could have just walked in and planted, possibly if that would have been the case, but they stopped it before that could happen.
Side rotation so far for OXG has followed a very similar pattern that we see on Chalet, and this second attempt at Kitchen does not complete all 4 bomb sites showing up. Kitchen on the main floor, bar on the main floor as well, and then garage in the basement. What garage? Just bedroom.
I was gonna say you're the.
I had the wrong floor. I had bottom floor when it was top floor. It was my brain not working.
Yeah, we get to see the basement.
That's correct. That's what I meant to say.
What surely will?
I think so. The overarching point was that upstairs bomb site is seen with frequency. We go through a weird flow with Chalet where there was a period of time, and I like to reference it because when this map first came out, the bottom floor bomb site was seen quite extensively alongside Bar Gaming, and then there was a period of time, I think it was about a year ago, but things all tend to blur together, where teams were allergic to going downstairs. And again, as we try to talk to these teams about, the reasoning for it was, well, once you get garage open, which is relatively easy, it becomes almost impossible to defend. Speaking of defending, there's a lot of success from OXG. 1 minute and 15 seconds have gone by in this round, and SQ have lost 3 players. OXG have lost none. They're still defending upstairs, similarly as we saw before inside a library. Soniqs had a lot of tools at their disposal last time to tackle this problem. Now they just have what is brought by an Ash and a Thermite. Not exactly the 2 operators that you want to push out in a zombie and deal with those Kiba barriers. And what else may be in front of you?
Yeah, that's a tough task. And I mean, the issue here is it's so hard to clear library against the Asami, and they kind of relied on Gunnar walk up the fireplace staircase, just getting that initial kill. But he lost the individual gunfight, and that puts his teammates in this awkward position. They finally clear out York on the Asami, but that's as far off the bomb site as humanly possible. That's library on a kitchen defense. You still got office and master bedroom, solarium above, and the bomb set itself beneath all of that to deal with. And you have 2 members, 45 seconds, and as you can tell here, they don't know what is and what isn't clear. They're gonna have to dry peek their way through the top floor and somehow find the bomb set afterwards.
We talked about office being one of the focal points. That's Grixer attempting to get through as Geo by piano finds a goo mine, slowing him down. Goo mines might be easier to spot, but if you're preoccupied with where your opponents might be and you're worried about the time, you're not exactly going to be looking down. There goes Geo. Grixer now in a 1v4, and it's finished off by Fox. A round that was effectively over well over a minute ago. OXG tie up the game, 2-2.
2-2 indeed. I'm curious to see, what Soniqs will do on the attack inside, because especially on Chalet, you definitely have more tools to work with on the attacking side than that of defense. Especially with like the introduction of Ram, if people want to go on that downstairs basement bomb side. And yeah, sure, the Dokkaebi is spanned away from you, and the Brava, and yeah, they're pretty pivotal on Chalet, but you still got the Twitch that can kind of substitute the Brava Ben, for example, just like you see Dream playing Maestro because Valkyrie is banned or Solus is banned, and Grix is on Twitch right now, so there are solutions around these problems. Personally, whenever I play Chalet, I didn't play the rework in pro play all that much, but even playing it in ranked and scrims, etc., I actually think this bar bomb set that we're seeing currently is one of the hardest bomb sites, in my personal opinion, to attack as a former IGL myself. It's just like, it seems like the solution is to do like a 3-2-1. Okay, I hope you win your gunfights. Good luck. Because breaking the library hold from the library balcony is difficult, especially against Asami. Breaking it from the master bedroom side, dealing with that classic double shield setup on mezzanine and top blue staircase is also going to be difficult. And I feel like there's no easy way around it, really. And we did see Sonic struggle with that exact same thing last round. Yeah, it wasn't a bar defense, but it was set up on the library portion of the map in a similar fashion. The Asami playing there, more mine magnets, the soft floor broken below the windows, the hatch being open alongside a bar. So, again, same similar setup from OXG, and Soniqs currently are looking to make it a similar approach from the same direction at least, but they have to change up their approach. This time they got the floor to deal with Kiba barriers. They got Gunnar on the aim to really initiate a push here, but it comes down to your entries. Are you going to win out and be successful in your gunfights and synergy together, or you will just simply fall?
Great questions. And the way these two teams have played, I mean, we've had a variety of questions. Saw that nade go in. It appeared to be grabbed by a magnet, but Citizen ultimately getting that first pick. That's tremendous for Soniqs, though. First Blood has not been as pivotal in this matchup between the teams as you would come to expect. It's bucking the trend that we know when the team that gets that first pick almost certainly goes on to win the round. Action looks like it might break out at any point, so I'll stop myself from going too deep into the numbers, especially referencing that first map. Soniqs might have gotten a pick inside a library, but there's hesitation as to what they want to do next. Citizen waiting, Gunner waiting.
Taking the bad guys.
Do they not have drones to follow up on it?
Plenty of drones, but there it is. It's gonna stop things off.
Citizen marching on in. He gets flashed, but still a pick. All these OXG players are getting slaughtered at the hands of Soniqs. Fish backing up ever so slightly, playing that small angle on the top of library stairs. Viewers down below surveying the hatch. Rexon's been damaged, but other than that, Soniqs doing relatively okay. That is until Citizen dies. The hands of Newers will vacate the premises. He doesn't want to be too deep in the bomb site. He knows that with the final 40 seconds to go, SQ will translate and likely drop through those hatches. Newers has positioned himself to greet them. And while the focus from Soniqs might be on that part of the map, there is a flank coming in. Fish has dropped, so flanking a flanker even. Rixer is ready for it. At 417 hits like a truck. Newers will need to clutch out. Diffuser going down. Geo will have 3 of his teammates watching for him. Newers picks the main lobby as his first entry point. He can't get the pick. Soniqs finish him off. The streak from OXG ends at 2 rounds as SQ regains the lead.
And it really did come down to a 3, 2, 1, let's go. And again, you hope your entries win out in their gunfights. It did look like Soniqs were a bit slow, a little bit confused, you might say. But I think they were just simply setting up every single aspect of the map, because once you jump into a library and you start initiating that top floor attack, you're basically all in. You can't jump in, take a couple of swings and necessarily jump out. And it's, you gotta use your candelas and your smoke grenades to actually get in. And we see Citizen, as he gets blinded, finds the first kill. Lion of Rexon finds the second, and that's top floor control to the side of Soniqs. But now imagine that flipped. Let's say Citizen had lost his gunfight and so did Rexon. That entire round plays out heavily in OXG's favor and leaves little to no room for Soniqs to actually win it out. So it really is just a make sure everybody's ready, primed in the right positions. 3, 2, 1, utility goes out, the players follow, and you full commit, because it is literally you win on that top floor clear or you lose that top floor clear. OXG could have ran away and sacrificed the top portion of the map, but they actually thought, and I agree with them, that fighting for that space is going to be more valuable for you, because the bomb site itself, well, there's verticality literally all above it, so if you surrender library, you kind of lose the bomb site shortly after. They get punished though. Soniqs were very much successful in their attack, almost didn't lose a single member in that round. And now, on the final defense, OXG will take us that 4th and final bomb site, the downstairs basement. It's a more, let's say, clubhouse-like bomb site where it's all about utility. Open the right walls in the right order with the right utility, because you gotta worry about a possible bandit, a possible Al-Qaid. And this is also where the newest operator, Brava, really gets to shine. Just that drone will drive on in from outside the building, you're safe and sound, the floor is broken in 4 seconds, that's it. Oh wow, that's happened! Defenders, they got the opening kill onto Rex.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
First pick, and then a trade. OXG in the lead with 1 minute off of the clock. Gunner will come to blows. Wins his duel. Continues to march forward. Looks like OXG is going to want to retake blue. Gunner's toiling in that area. Diffuser is down by connector. Need to be retrieved by Soniqs, but they're worried about where these OXG players are going to come from. OXG's been boxed out of the bomb site. This is going to be a retake setup. One of the players looking to retake, gunned down, is Yaga inside a big garage, eliminated by Citizen. There's the drop from OXG. Now it's Fish on stairs to march down, tussling with connector, but simply overpowered. Excellently done by Soniqs once they had control of the bomb site. First half is a 4-2 in favor of Soniqs on OXG's map on attack for SQ. First half in the books.
We gotta talk about Gunnar for a second because he is playing out of his goddamn mind right now. The defensive side on Clubhouse, complete masterclass for him on the defense, right? And now we're seeing him just, it looks like he's IGLing, entrying, taking side control, and coordinating that entire push. Because, yeah, the round kind of fell apart for Soniqs, and then we flip to Gunnar. He's just walked in the bomb site into Wine Cellar, gets the kill in blue, and then establishes who gets in where. Okay, we wait for Citizen. He's gonna go in car garage and come and shut down that Wispin flank staircase, okay? Brixer, he's locked down fireplace stairs and blue from connector as well. He's also in the bomb site. Then Gunnar runs around, takes up the diffuser, goes to bait plant, immediately hops off and flicks the member, dropping down the hatch. And again, he just reads that situation perfectly, just like he did previously on Clubhouse. He's 6-3, he's leading in the entry stats again, and just really doing a lot for his team. And he was playing solos on Clubhouse a lot, disrupting that entry from OXG. And the desk spoke about it, we spoke about it. OXG struggle in the early start of their round. Now they don't have Dokkaebi again to work with, but sure enough, Soniqs, they banned Solus themselves. So what does Gunnar do? He goes from Solus onto Vigil, and it serves that same exact purpose. He's disrupting OXG's early round. It's hard to fight now when the Vigil gets active. He's gonna try and kill drones, try and find players, do some damage. He's got 2 impacts on target to work with for rotations. He's going to be difficult to catch for OXG, and there's no real direct operator right now that screams, oh, we want to find Gunnar. There's no Jackal, for example. There's no Blitz on Monty. Dokkaebi's banned. OXG's going for a relatively conventional utility lineup, which is going to have a hard time to deal with Gunnar if he's allowed that freedom.
In terms of stats for the first half, it's honestly a mixed bag for those opening duels. There was an abundance of trades as these teams kept it close. There is not a direct correlation necessarily to getting first blood and winning the round, though I will say that if Soniqs got first blood or traded back within about 10 seconds, they won the round. That was the exception, was round number 3. So if Soniqs can get on the board first, things tend to look quite good. And I mean, this round is not what they want. They do not get on the board first. OXG does. They nade Rexen.
You see OXG playing from outside the building right now, and that's not allowing Gunnar to be proactive because he can't do anything about this. Big window repel, bathroom balcony, office balcony, solarium repel. Gunnar can't kill anybody. As I say that, Citizen does it in step. It's a trade once again going in both ways.
Might not have been a draw on the very first pick, but it follows up shortly thereafter. Citizen still lurking over top of this bomb site. Lurking might be the wrong word for Citizen right now because he's just roaming and he's supported by Gunnar. This is a more restrained style of offsite play from Citizen as he's extended upwards over the kitchen site, now inside a bathroom. Vigil is not an operator you see all the time. If he needs to pop to the aid of Citizen, Gunnar can do just that. But Citizen seems to have it handled on his own. Yaga walking in, dispatched. Now it's Foxay's turn. You saw he threw out those boogies. 30 seconds remaining, still 1 to go. Lots of noise, lots of destruction, but emphasis on the noise. It is really overwhelming playing around one of those things going off. Gives you good covering fire. Pardon the pun, as Fish jumps in, gets a kill on Trophy, but then is thwarted by a frost mat. Fox watching his Dream gets diffuser down. Fish still caught, ensnared, unable to do much. Dream gets diffuser down, but not before you can hear the telltale sounds of the K1A of Vigil. Gunnar will actively drop. Cannot secure Fish, but that's not the focus. Instead, Gunnar's just gonna hop on the defuse. Falls off, Fox A pre-fire around the corner, nicely placed by OXG. It's now up to Citizen. Drops in the lobby, looking one direction, stopped by Dream at main door. OXG successful on their first defense.
A little bit of blunder there from Soniqs is a very small detail and it's easy to miss, but Gunnar went immediately for the defuse, which makes perfect sense because the walls were in breach from fireplace and there was a jammer still on the wall. So the idea that OXG had there was that they were going to go outside the bombs that, like we saw, they exited dining immediately. They were going to Hibana breach the dining walls so they could see the diffuser from outside the building, setting themselves up for a perfect post that is so hard to beat. The issue is, they didn't kill the jammer. So they both left the bomb site, and what actually could have been a ninja defuse by Gunner had Citizen actually covered it. But miscommunication from Soniqs. You see here, Gunner was waiting for the cover, Citizen was going for Fireplace instead, so they had two different reads in that same situation. Had they committed to just one of them, they were likely going to be successful in that retake of the diffuser. But small mistakes, they can lead to massive up or downsides depending on what outcome you get. And in that particular instance, if the cover from Citizen had been there on the dining door, Gunner could have definitely stuck the diffuser. We have the top-down view, we see everything, we don't have the pressure and the spam of communication of callouts happening in those players' ears. It's easy for us to say and see. And it also speaks to the lack of intel and defense. Soniqs, they have top floor control, and much like OXG, they don't know how to, they can't stop the plant on the site because they don't know where it's happening. That's the downside of playing vertically. You think you're so good above because you can surely find the planter, except sometimes you don't know where they are.
I'd like to correct the record and say that OXG is on attack. These colors are really throwing me for a loop here.
Well, I was saying when they were on defense.
No, I said OXG on defense because they are the color orange, which is usually the color of defense. But
oh, they're gonna go fast.
This is going to be a fast take. OXG sprinting on in. Rex didn't seem to be ready for that. Newers dies, but it's a trade right back. Fish not engaging that EE1D in the latter part of the push. If it was off cooldown, it would be unknown to us. Now to a 3v3 as they want to keep up this same tempo. Yaga removing one player from blue. Citizen, the last one standing for Soniqs. There's only a minute that's been played out in this round. Citizen throwing the nitro cell, gets the pick. That's also diffuser too. Citizen could easily win this one, but his luck runs out on the thermite. Foxay the final kill. OXG win two of their own on attack. They tie the game.
We have seen a handful of rushes now from both teams, been a mixed bag, but outcome-wise, it's usually very clear. When you rush the bomb site, either when Soniqs or OXG do it, they tend to lose those rounds. And it started off negatively for OXG because they lost the opening duel. Newers literally sprinted into a gunfight and died, but the backup was there. The trade happened that time, and that opened things up successfully for them. Fish got the first one, and then, you know, they just walk on in. Yark has been so good on the, I want to say entry. He doesn't play the entry role, but whenever he walks in to take those gunfights, as an entry player would, he just always wins them. He's so good in the DMR. We saw it yesterday on Skyscraper. We've seen it here right here as well. So Newers goes in, he dies. Fish trades. Yark get bang, one easy. Flicks Fireplace. He doesn't get the kill, but he almost does. He takes you down to like 1 HP when he gets backstabbed by Foxay. What could have been a great touch from Citizen didn't come to life, unfortunately for him and the side of Soniqs. And this is again going to be much like Clubhouse, round by round, anybody's game, and tied up 4-4.
Well, if the timeout can hopefully settle this team down. Oh, the dog!
Oh.
I get distracted by the animals in the background. Just as yesterday, I was losing my mind at, what was it, Hot and Cold's cat? And not just Vertical's dog, but dogs. I was informed that apparently he has 2 dogs. Oh. They're gorgeous. I don't know if you saw his tweet or his zeet or whatever the hell they call it.
Oh, no.
I don't know if you saw his tweet about the dog. There's the dog again. Look at how sleepy that dog is. What a beautiful dog. What a nice pup.
It's like a proper like family dog looking dog, you know?
All dogs are puppies. Always puppos. Anyway. Capitao on the board. Given that this is a bar gaming execute for OXG, it stands to reason that you bring a Capitao again, as we saw from Soniqs. We will talk about it for OXG. Your main application of that Capitao is likely going to be upstairs clearing out library. That's the assumption. Instinctively, SQ brings Wamai, who is a good operator in almost every single circumstance, but especially good when you're trying to hold chimney and when you're trying to hold that corner of library, which can very easily be naded or flushed out by a fire arrow. If you don't have a magnet in there, Geo, who is playing in that particular part of the map, might not be long for this earth.
Yeah, it's a fine balance. Stick around for long enough to burn utility, but don't stick around for too long until you die. He drops, takes a time, okay, about half his health bar. Not the end of the world. He burned out 2 smokes and a fire. And that's really it. Honestly, pretty good utility use by OXG. They don't have to burn out their flashbangs, all their smokes to follow it up. So they get the corner cleared. They do damage to the citizen as well. The question now is, are they going to continue their attack on library or kind of rotate around? Because right now they are indeed rotating. They're going to go towards that master bedroom office side perhaps. They know the library corner is clear, but unless somebody's on the balcony of library, they could just retake that position from the side of Soniqs. Half-down has been burned away already in terms of the timer, so the attack's gotta be relatively quick here. Geo did burn the T4 earlier on, so can't do any vertical destruction onto office now. That's gonna favor the attack, of course, as it'll be a little bit safer in this round.
Look at the spread by OXG. They're all over the map, and none of them seemingly inside for the moment. It's a good lockout from Soniqs, who've seen Citizen reduce to ash at this point. And I don't mean the operator. I mean, he might as well be completely gone. Still got a gun in hand. First couple shots leading up towards OXG. That's Newers shrugging them off. Fish dies. Soniqs pick number 1, pick number 2 as well as they secure the remainder of Newers. And now Geo on above takes down the Hibana. There goes Diffuser on the ground. Yaga and Foxay to work together. Yaga was in a similar position with Dream once before. Foxay sees one on library stairs, decides, you know what, I'll wait. Good trigger discipline, but then walks right into Grixer as Yaga drops, and it might as well be suicide. OXG ultimately surrender the round. The timeout works. 5 on the board for Soniqs. They are 2 rounds away from a 2-0 victory.
Yep. I mean, this is again where it's, you go back to that clubhouse game as Oxygen and you go, one round could have made the difference between, you know, Chalet being the end if they were to lose it out, or them even taking it 2-0 if they were to win. And yeah, you know, it sucks. And you can't really think too much about it as a player because you gotta focus on the present right now. The issues and the complications of Chalet and the reasons why you are not winning in those rounds. And I said it, I think it's very hard to attack that bomb site, period. And it looked very much the same way for OXG. They were spending most of that time outside the building. They went through the trouble of clearing out the corner with the capital fireballs and smoke bolts to burn out the Wamai discs, but then they rotate away. So they either made a mistake, or maybe they got some intel that elsewhere was easier to approach, where it's like they spend so much time and effort, and then, you know, we literally see a defender in the corner at the end of the round, where it's like you cleared it out, you go master bedroom, defenders they go back to the corner, and now you achieved nothing? It's a little bit puzzling. Maybe indecisiveness. We saw the player cans of York and Foxy kind of talking. I don't want to say in frustration, but obviously it sounds like they're talking game plan stuff, right? Not really sure what's going on. Foxy's hand gestures, he's told me that it's like, don't exactly know what was the issue there. Of course, when Soniqs took their tactical timeout, OXG can also talk to their support staff amongst each other about what they want to do going forward. The good thing is, we're in the second half. So this is it for a side change unless we go into overtime. So both teams can just look at the long-term gameplay right here saying, okay, what do we want for the remaining, 3, 4, 5 rounds on just defense or just attack and not worry too much about the side swap if you were to take a timeout in, for example, the first half.
It's a technical issue right now with real information as to why we're taking a tech issue. Citizen is on his second beverage. He started off by drinking what I believe was a cherry Coke and is now drinking some sort of orange beverage. This might have been the culprit, by the way. It might have been a rehost because there was a tactical timeout likely called by OXG. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes
2 timeouts back to back. Both of these teams obviously feeling the heat at the moment. As you pointed out, when a timeout is called, both teams get to speak. And that also is part of the calculus that coaches use when deciding when to call the timeout. I remember there was one time, a very pivotal game for SSG a couple stages ago, and it was 6-5. SSG trailed. They were the 5 of the 6-5. They still had their timeout. They didn't call it. They ended up losing 7-5. And just afterwards, obviously in no interview capacity, I messaged Lycan off, I think it was on Discord, Twitter, I can't remember which platform. And I basically just said, why didn't you call it?
Attackers have discovered the location
And he
of the
said,
bomb.
because I thought what we needed to do was relatively obvious. I thought the team knew what needed to be done that round. We were ultimately unsuccessful, but I figured calling the timeout to tell them what they already knew just presented an opportunity for our opponents to also figure out what to do should they not have known.
Yeah.
And as you can see from that timeout that was just called, Citizen was very vocal throughout all of it. So Soniqs, even though it's not their timeout, are still taking advantage of those 45 seconds to strategize and try to keep pace with their opponents.
It's a very good point, and I can't read lips, you know, that's a real thing, really. But I mean, I played with Citizen before, right? We played in G2 back in the early days when we made that big change initially. I could pretty much hear his voice, okay? Saying like, guys, these guys' attacks are, bad word. Just sit in corners and make them come to us and just let one guy do his thing. The one guy, of course, being Gunner, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a very utility play close together situation from the side of Soniqs here, with just Gunner going absolutely crazy. Because OXG, they do look like they're having some troubles problem solving on the early rounds. We don't surrender those early kills, Rex can be injured. Soniqs might be good for wear in these rounds. Because OXG, like we keep saying, their early game is relatively weak. They struggle getting opening first picks. But in this round, it's pretty much guaranteed unless good old Rexon can crawl very far away very quickly. But he cannot. Oh, man. Get
The
sacked
Twitch
to
drone
death.
kill is about as rare in the year 2023 as you can expect. There was a period of time where they used to do 10 damage and you used to have a relatively unlimited amount and you could easily tase somebody in the prep phase and kill them if you really had enough patience.
Yep.
Not the case anymore with changes to the Twitch drone. The fact that Rexon was downed early and then finished off by Foxay's drone is quite the callback. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah, Twitch is one of the attackers have been changed a ton over the years. I mean, throwback here, right? Twitch's drone back in the day couldn't jump. That was a patch that was added later, in like year 2 of the game or something like that, or late year 1 maybe, that allowed it to jump. So you would get stuck, especially in Chalet, on these stupid areas where there's just like a little lip on the street outside, and you had to run outside the building, pick up the drone. It was frustrating.
You remember there was a pro named Dave who used to play on that Bittersweet roster way back in the day. Played on SSG for a brief period of time as well. He actually did, I think it was the SI Quals casting earlier this year. And when we were spectating somebody on the Twitch and the Twitch drone jumped, all you hear is, wait, it can jump now? Just underscores the surprise of somebody who hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about the jumping capabilities of Twitch's favorite little pest. Oxygen have been wiping the floor with SQ. Gio is in a 1v5. He takes down Dream. That's it. Soniqs ultimately suffering at the hands of OXG, who break into the map and take no prisoners. 5-5.
I mean, it seems pretty straightforward how to win these rounds. Just call your tactical timeout, win the following round, and then profit. I guess there is one problem. You only really get one each per map, so who's going to win the following round? That's the big question mark that's up in the air right now. Because OXG, they won round number 8. Soniqs took a timeout. Then they win the following round. OXG got a timeout. Then they win the following round after, leaving us to this good old, just like before, the 5-5. And when you're on the defense right now, you got a couple decisions to make. Which bomb site do you think you can find success on? The only locked bomb site right now for Soniqs is that bar defense. That's because they won it previously, of course. Then they lost kitchen, so they can go upstairs in master bedroom, first floor kitchen, or downstairs inside a basement. Last time they went basement, they were not successful. It was that quick push from OXG that was very successful from them, and it's also the round that after Soniqs lost it, that's when they took the tactical timeout to figure out the problems. Some stylistic changes here for sure. Information on Geo on the Maestro, for example, taking a page out of Dream's book from OXG. Citizen on Mossy now to help, you know, capture some drones, deny intel, and get intel. And then Bandit from Gunner. And that's going to mean that Gunner's going to be the side player now instead, because he's going to bandit trick the wall, and he does so successfully. And it's going to put Citizen instead on that active drone player. And, you know, good news. Citizen used to play that exact role early on in his career, so he's very familiar with that and can probably replace Gunner one-to-one in that position. What in the... Oh, that's the C4 that goes all the way outside to the garage door, and it actually almost killed... Look at this! It almost killed Newers. That's beautiful.
You'll love to see these lineups. Correct me if I'm wrong, but after talking about the site rotation all the way back, the first 3 rounds, and I was incorrect, I was looking down instead of up. Bedroom's only been played 1 time, at least by my notes.
Yes, yes.
So far, it's been kitchen, garage, bar, kitchen, garage. This half at least. That's not talking about the first half. That's just so far what we've seen out of Soniqs, which again, lends credibility to when you said only that bar bomb site was still locked. If they're unsuccessful here and OXG moves to match point, every single site will be available for Soniqs, at which point, you know, you have the attacker repick for OXG to tailor their setup and approach it the right way. God, remember the days when you only could swap a single operator? Remember the days when you couldn't even do that?
Oh yeah, we've gone through that a couple of times, yeah. Good old days. I mean, attackers right now can guarantee the perfect operator lineup, granted they get intel and predators, right? So it's this kind of trade-off. Yeah. Use your drones, get intel, pick the right position. OXG, with a very slow round here, can break it despite having the attacker repick, right? They get what they want, the operator picks, but now they need the map control to follow up. I like that vertical using Foxy. You take top floor to get access to the first floor, forcing those roamers back. It's gonna be Goner, and he swings! No need for that.
Need to do that, son.
Nope.
Could have waited. Fish, first pick. Newer's also on the board. OXG again, just gunning down Soniqs. Things falling apart very quickly for the other team in teal, and now it could be flawlessly done. It is indeed flawless for OXG. They were a single kill away from flawlessing the previous round, as there was an unimpactful exit kill from Geo. What a showing on this second half for OXG. They now find themselves on match point.
Oh boy. I mean, yeah, bar's probably going to be up next for Soniqs. It would be the only logical conclusion here. It's where they found their only round victory on defense so far. And yeah, it's always awkward with starting sides and ending sides because some maps will be attacker favorite, some will be defender or attacker favorite, etc. But you should never be in a position where you're only winning a single round on either side, unless you're playing, you know, Theme Park when it first came out, Villa when it first came out, maps that were like ridiculously one-sided, usually favoring defense. On Chalet, 4-2 favoring attack is the usual outcome. So if Soniqs were to win this bar defense, well, then they get that 4-2 half. You know, we go into overtime instead, and all things are right in the world. Or OXG, if they can, find success, which they haven't on this bomb site so far. They take the map 7-5. They go to that good old side of Oregon. A map that I would say for most teams is very even and quite neutral. See if they can do it. They've used their attacker repicks, and they've come to the conclusion that Yogg really likes to play Twitch, and he really likes playing that DMR as well. And I don't blame the guy. He is putting up some serious numbers the last couple of playdays in the NAL. 13 kills to his name currently right now. And the big aspect of Twitch is that you're throwing those switch drones early on, and you kill the default cameras in Fireplace and Blue Staircase and West Main, the ones that you can't always get to that quickly. And the defenders, you see it right here, they're going to be running blind. If somebody's sitting on default cams, they're going to go, can't see this area, can't see this area. I guess we don't know what's going on. Oh, Citizen. It's shut down. Almost gets the kill.
One at all.
It's not the
Defenders gadgets will continue, Nick, but yeah, Soniqs being on the wrong side. Again. Things are going from bad to worse. OXG picking up the pieces on what is one of the rare attacker-sided maps that you and I have casted so far this stage. It seems like every single map we go to is always decided 4-2 or 5-1 by the defense. Now and then you'll have the rare 3-3. But attacker-sided? I don't see that all that often. Yaga might have missed a golden opportunity to eliminate Geo and give the advantage to OXG, an even greater opening. Snowball towards inevitable victory. Fox a shot away at the window, though. There's still some life in Soniqs as they equalize with half the round to go.
Yeah, that kill that Yogg just missed on Geo definitely sucks now when you lose Foxy and Fish is 1 health as well. Because what looks like OG being in a very strong position, well, it's kind of been neutralized and reset. They're in a decent position, but they haven't even dealt with the hardest part about this entire attack yet. That hold upstairs, the top blue mezzanine library position, that's the most difficult part of the round. That's where their dreams will either, you know, come to fruition, or they will straight up just die. Because if you don't get top floor control, you won't get bomb site control. They still got 4 players upright. Geo individual could look for a flank or try and go back and help the bomb site. By the way, OHG who's gotta strike first. Oh, again.
Yaga's just missing out on these chances to help give his team enough gas to get to the finish line. Not that OXG's really needed those opportunities, but there we go. Soniqs taking down Dream. There's another to follow. SQ might have surrendered that first pick. But missed opportunities by Yaga might come back to haunt him. To salvage the round is Newers, but Gunner is so good in that spot. All of Soniqs so strong upstairs on Library, and again we are going to need overtime between these teams.
Oh, yeah. And now this is the thing. If it ends up being OHG who takes it, we go to that third map playing a ton of rounds. Fatigue's gonna be a thing. I mean, if you're Soniqs, obviously, you're gonna close it out 2-0. Very obviously so. But the thing is, I actually don't know the exact starting size here for OT. I've not noted that down before the game started, so I don't really know who's gonna go where. Because teams can pick whatever side they want based on preference and what they think might happen. Some teams are gonna go, we don't need overtime. It doesn't matter where we go, right? It's gotta throw it away. So I'm curious to see. Well, there it is. Soniqs, they might have gotten double defense on Clubhouse and liked that outcome. But they also get double defense on Chalet, which I don't think they're too happy about. I mean, sure, you go back to bar straight off the overtime reset, so to speak, because everything gets opened up again for bomb set rotations. But then you go and attack, and then you go back to defense. So I guess the good news is they can start on the strongest statistical bomb site, the only site they've won so far. The bad news is if you lose out on bar now, doesn't put you up for the best position. OHT, it's still kind of up to them to figure this out. If they can't break bar, they put themselves down around an OT, and if they can figure it out, well, they're flying.
Oxygen get to attack twice in OT, which if the numbers hold is excellent. We often look at the way that OT can vary from the actual ebb and flow of the map. Prior to that, regulation on the first map of Clubhouse was very defender-sided. Overtime followed the exact same pattern. Nothing that we have seen over the previous 12 rounds would lead me to believe that the defense have any upper hand whatsoever, but hey, as good a time as ever for Soniqs to start things off well. Newers is removed. Newers has been an afterthought for OXG in this best of 3 so far. It's a terrible time for somebody who's been heralded as an incredibly good, mechanically skilled player. Not having his ability as a Yana for 2 minutes, not having his gun skill available for multiple maps, it's not going to help OXG's chances at all.
No. One small note here that Soniqs have done the last couple rounds, they're putting Geo on the Vigil roam instead to give Gunner a quote-unquote anchor position, but it's the Asami. They're putting Gunner in the front lines by making him that library holder. So instead of running around and not finding gunfights because OXG are going for direct attacks, they're putting Gunner in the middle of those direct attacks, making the direct attacks more difficult. It's actually genius from them, and it shows the depth and the versatility from this roster. Being able to flex around the various roles. One of the benefits of Geo being an old dog, so to speak, is that he can play probably any role in the game to decent success. He'll just go Vigil, he'll roam, he'll get the job done, and OXG, they're completely boxed out. Gun on the Asami, cannot be cleaned off this position.
Oh, might have spoken too soon here. Boxed out, sure, but Yaga's ability to aim around those Kiba barriers was not very good on the previous round. He seems to have corrected some of those inadequacies. Corrected some of those errors. Taking off Geo, the Vigil that you said was roaming, taking Gunner's place. It's Yaga looking inside a lobby. Hate to sing the praises of one player over and over and over, often to the detriment of the rest of his team, but Yaga has really been very strong. But Fish also assembling a deceptively good record so far on this map and quietly doing so. Dream goes down. This is a player that you know can take over a game, but speak of his name and now he's gone. Fish removed. It's Yaga and Fox in a 2v3, but Yaga's got the kills so far for OXG. Got a lineup on library stairs, but also a target inside a bar. Cannot seem to get it done. Soniqs will go on a series point with the final kill on to Foxay. This one could be a 2-0.
Well, could. They're so close to it now. And again, the small adaptations really, I mean, it's really working out. And it's mostly been Soniqs to make those adaptations, like the role change between, well, it's like a triangle effect, right? It's been Citizen, Geo, and Gunner trying to figure out who should be in the exact role. And, you know, they've had mixed success, but I think the current iteration that they come up with Gunner being the frontline holder and Asami, with Geo being the roam and Citizen playing the middle ground, I think it kind of favors everybody else. When you statistically look at a team like Sonic, you're not gonna go, oh, Geo's gonna carry and kills, he's gonna do this and that, he's gonna entry. That's not really his job or his role. I would argue that the simplest way to describe Geo's role in Sonics is to let everybody else shine around him. He'll play the half reach, he'll drone, he'll play the Monty, and if it strengthens these teammates, that's good enough. So if you put, technically speaking, the worst player of Geo and Vigil to roam around, but you strengthen the overall hold of the round by putting Gunner or Citizen in a stronger position, that's an overall net positive for Sonics. And yeah, sure, Geo died early, didn't find any kill, didn't really necessarily disrupt the enemy that much in Vigil, like you're supposed to, but it also guaranteed really strong players in very crucial positions because of that. I like the Monty here on Sonics' attack. It didn't really work out last time necessarily because Geo was playing rather passive and also Sonics died to the opening kill. They did not find any success there. But now it gives Sonic some stability in this round. They still got a drone. They gotta get those flank drones set up to get the network going. But Geo can walk in with confidence and again just lead his teammates forward and allow them to shine.
Monty experiment, as you've just talked about, is not something that we have seen huge success on. No blitz for you. We have to wait to Oregon if it shows up. Oxygen will need to win 2 rounds in a row. They have the unfavorable side statistically on defense, but will be in a relatively comfortable position for the 15th and final round. Well, we need 15 rounds across these 2 maps. These have not been short affairs so far. We started map number 1 over 2 hours ago at this point, and there still might be another whole map to go.
A bomb has been located.
This billing has definitely lived up to what the desk had talked about. 2 very evenly matched teams on the razor's edge of most rounds. Oh no. Oh no.
Crucial kill here. Who gets it?
Oh, Citizen missing out. Yaga on the board first. Goodbye to Gunner. Tied with Grixer for most kills on the team. Citizen gets away without that pick, but now he could close in on Foxay through lobby. What? They both miss each other. No. They're like 2 ships in the night. Neither see. Foxay so lucky on that one. Will now confront the Monty. Geo looking the wrong way there, Citizen. Finally finishing off Fish as he'd looked for that kill much earlier on. Now it's Citizen being guided in by the Monty. Foxay trying his best, gunning down Geo. Who's next in line? There's Grixer getting on the board. Citizen still in the same position. Hustling with Foxay, who's now dropped, so Citizen will need to reassess that position. A nade goes in, but we'll soon find that there's nobody there. Well, Foxay wants a second serving, swinging into his demise. Soniqs with the advantage with 30 seconds left to go. Yaga and Newers. If there's ever a time for Newers to heat up, get on the board, prove his worth in this particular matchup, it's now, especially with Yaga in the ground, but Newers can't get it done! A 2-0 victory for Soniqs as they steal OXG's map.